Welcome back. This is Sunday Breakfast right here on ChannelOne TV. Just gone by the sports segment. We decided to mix it up a little because why not? This is a show of variety and surprises all the time. My name is Jude Duncan. I do this with Eno Safo. We just had our sports review segment on the show, but for now we'll shift focus to an area of immense interest to you because we are about entering our Heritage Month. Exactly right here at ChannelOne TV and CTFM. And maybe you should introduce
your favorite.
Yeah, you should introduce it because if I start my things,
Jude's favorite.
If I start my things, she doesn't want to admit it. But it's a matter of time.
Okay.
Yeah. Is
okay.
it Abroabe Consio Banentem? Or my
that
proverb is not, the analogy is
Your
not.
proverb is not proverb.
No, like the old lady will go to the water mouth, right? But it will be slow. So apple will be slow in.
What is this?
Thank you. That's the point.
Okay.
So it's only a matter of time.
Before Appy
reciprocates
the love we have for her.
Yeah.
I don't know what this
right
is
now it's very one-sided, but it's okay.
I don't know what Jude wants from me. Because he knows I love him. Right? But I don't know
that's the point to Appy because she doesn't
he wants me to see
admit
him
it.
every day.
Express
No, it's like
it.
whenever I see him, then I should start speaking in Shakespearean language and saying, my love for you is like a red rose and it blooms in Hamatan and things. I don't know what
she doesn't admit it when we are privately, but she doesn't have a problem saying it here.
No, but isn't that better?
Isn't that better?
I want people to
are
know.
fighting and telling people post to me. Me, I post to you.
Isn't that what you were fighting for last week?
Well,
on
I'm
the
making
relationship
progress.
segment.
Yeah, I'm making progress, so it's fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Apioko is our head of programs production for ChannelOne TV. You're welcome, Apioko. We're talking about our Heritage Month. How are we starting off Heritage Month this time around?
So by the time Sunday Breakfast comes for another episode next week Sunday, we'll be in Heritage Month. We would have taken flight. And this year is special. We've been doing Heritage Month for about 20 years. It's almost as old as City FM, which will be 21 years old this year. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Jude, how old are you again? 18 or something?
A lot. A lot of years.
But we start off the month, and we've been starting off the month since about 2016 with a Heritage Caravan. This is our, Save 2021 because we were still in the COVID mode. We've done the Heritage Caravan every year since 2016. And so it starts off Heritage Month, and I know this year you're going, no?
Yes, I am. And then Jude has been throwing me subtle shades all day.
By yourself. But don't worry, I'll be here with you. I'm not going this year, so I'll be here with you.
I'll be looking forward to except that.
Except that what?
Never mind.
Except that what? But we start off with the Heritage Caravan, and so on the 2nd of March, the caravan, just hits the road for 8 days and 7 nights. So it will come back on the 9th of March. This year, we're starting off with a few things in Accra before, you always assume, oh, you live in Accra, so let's just, push it out. But this time, we start from Accra to some extent, and then we move to Ho. And Ho, something very special is happening there. The Volta food experience. Yes, so an area of Volta food.
Let's crew. I'll take a picture for you.
And we'll be talking about the Back to Your Village Food Festival shortly. But a lot of people have said that, hey, sit to ChannelOne, who paid Gianni? But food is important. Food is important. And I don't think a lot of people realize how critical food is to telling the story of our heritage as Ghanaians.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot about us just from tasting our food or even looking at it. And it's like that for many cultures. A lot of people, I'm very adventurous when it comes to food. And a lot of people would agree, the experts in gastronomy, the chefs, they all agree that there's something special about West African food, but particularly about Ghanaian food. It's so diverse, and the flavors are, you can have tomatoes too, but the experience you get with a tomato-based ponchin kakra is very different. So we start with the Heritage Caravan. Then at the end of the month, we have the Back to Your Village Food Festival. I'll save that and expatiate later. But in between, So right from the beginning of the month to the end, we have the Heritage On Air series. Now, this started because we started the Heritage Month with radio, as a radio series. And the idea was that we're giving people crash history courses on Ghana's heritage. That was the idea. And, you know, times have changed, the way people consume content has changed, and so the Heritage On Air series has also evolved. And of course, over the last 6 odd years, we also have, we've introduced ChannelOne TV. And so now there's the channel of TV to also push out what we're doing with that. This year, week 1 focuses on people and places. And we're doing something very interesting. People and Places, that series for that week is hosted by Bernard Avle. And Jude is his mini-me, right? Jude's big brother and mentor, you know. And Bernard will be sitting down with Kweku Dakwankra to spotlight prominent Ghanaians and then where they come from. So sort of using that to map out Ghana and showing how that diversity that we're talking about in ethnicity within Ghana. So you take a name like the Tamaklo name, for example, and then you would have a very prominent Tamaklo lawyer who would have been the first Ghanaian lawyer, full-blooded Ghanaian lawyer, you know, for example. And so you tell his story, and through that you get to experience how he came, why the Tamaklo name is what it is, the colonial vestiges and the name, all that. It's very interesting. And he'll be doing that with Kweku Dakwankra. Then in week 2, we are moving on to music. And A.M.A will be with the Nchin Band. And we've taken a moment in time of Ghanaian music, which we think is one of the greatest times for Ghanaian music in contemporary times. Between the mid-70s to the mid-80s, we have music there, they play it, and then there will be a whole dramatization for people to experience and understand it. Oh yes, of course. I mean, School of Performing Arts, Madame.
You know, she gives us like a snippet of it when she goes on Friday with Now.
Precisely.
You know, but I'm sure there's more heritage.
Look, 100 times more dramatic. But by the end of your experience with it, whether you're watching it on TV or listening to it on radio, you have a good sense and understanding of why Ghanaian music was so big at a time where, you know, that's where you had Osibisa traveling, High Life and all that was making the rounds. The Wulome managed to get their music into nightclubs. And this is Ghana folk music.
I can imagine.
And very interesting. Then week 3, we move on to our religious history. And the Papacy himself, Samata Mensa, will be speaking to Kweku Dakwankra. They'll be looking at the advent of, because religion is so big, and especially Christianity in Ghana, how it came here, but then how African independent churches also began to spring up on the scene, and how those things have influenced what we see in modern times, present day times, in the Christian realm. It's very interesting.
No, it's interesting you mentioned that, because, for example, if you read around the Pentecost church history and the Apostolic church history, right, you know, there's a role it played with the history of the country in general, right?
Absolutely.
So at a point, for the Pentecost church, for example, the president at the time, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, had to step in to make some executive orders, you know, splitting churches and all. And not a lot of people even know about the relationship between the church, faith, and, you know, nation building and all. So I think it will make a set up for interesting.
If you want a very basic example, look at most of our high schools. They're set up by missionaries. And
the Presbyterian Church, for example.
And you know, even though many of these schools have been, you know, there's a co-ownership between the churches and the state now, you'll see the influence of religion even in our education. You know, you go to assembly, if your school leans towards Methodist, you're singing Methodist hymns. You know, and even how you conscientize.
There's a direct relationship between faith and scholarship, right? Where, so for example, the Presby Church, as part of their policy at the time, land grabbing and also putting in place educational, you know, infrastructure, facilities, to also spread. It was a way of also having them spread their message. So I don't know a lot about that. So I'll be looking forward to, you know,
week 3,
the insights on that.
It will be very interesting. You know, Samans will really break it down. You know, Kweku Dakwankra is also awesome. And then in week 4, which is the final week, we zoom into food. And Adra Tenkroma, yes, she will be hosting that. Now, what we are doing with food this year for the Heritage Honor Series is very, very special. We've taken foods that people know. So we're not going for some remote food, Ghanaian food that a Gen Z would not have heard about. You know, Eno and I are honorary Gen Zs. I don't know about you, but we're honorary Gen Zs. So we take wache, kokonte, and pepli or popoi, which is the Ghana ceremonial food. Yes, Hausa cocoa. These are things that we know. Many of us would eat them. I mean, apart from popoi, which if you're not a Ghana, it's no more, you not experience. The other three, day in, day out, you eat them. You come across them, you know. And so you're taking these foods, and it's basically, oh, you think you know wache, well, you don't. So our draft starts from, go to the market in some cases, speak to the traders there who know the ingredients best. What makes the wache leaves, a good choice? Like, how do you know you're picking the right ones to get the best wache? How do you know you're picking the right beans? You know, what's the best rice? Before she now comes to work with people who make these things every day commercially. You know when you make wache at home, typically it's not the same. So working with the people who make it, and there's a reason why we buy it, and understanding why it's the way it is, and then how it's meant to be prepared. You know, traditionally now we all like single rice grains, but traditionally you scoop wache. It's almost like a tool, but it doesn't get to that point. And how do you prepare it? Why is it done that way? What are the accompaniments? Very interesting. So proper expose. You take kokonte as well. Where does it come from? Because almost everybody across the country, you go to every zone, there's kokonte there. But who owns the originality of it? We'll talk about that. How is it prepared? Why or what kind of cassava is used? And you learn things like the fact that people who started making kokonte, they would use the cassava that's rejected, the ones that wouldn't make it to the market, so that you can buy it for your fufu and maybe even to prepare your gari. And those things will take it dry because they didn't want to waste it.
It was an economically viable food.
Exactly. And why people look down upon it for that reason. We have nicknames like face the wall and all that. But then also how nutritious it is. Very, very interesting exposure.
And I think it's even like transcended generation, because
it has.
Like people, you talk people are going to eat coconut, I wonder, is there a money problem? You want to eat to feel.
Are you okay? Is everything okay? Is your pocket okay? But coconut is my favorite swallow.
Oh really?
I'm not an omoto fan.
Not even fufu.
I don't know. I should be eating mashed rice. I mean, I'm not a rice fan generally. Not even fufu. But coconut, I love it. And I love kokonte with groundnut soup. Yes, that's my favorite. If I'm not doing kokonte with groundnut soup, then I'm doing banku. Yes, with groundnut soup and tolu beef. So you see kokonte, and then even usually we limit it to groundnut soup. But you go to Dangme land, the Shao Osudoku area, where my husband comes from. They eat kokonte with pepper and boiled crabs. So you learn some of these things. How kokonte even presents itself in different ethnic groups across the country is extremely interesting.
That'd be interesting. Now that we're talking about food, though, let's talk about the food festival.
The Back to Your Village food
Back
festival.
to Your Village.
Now, I said something about food earlier, and we all agreed that it's important to Ghanaian heritage, but it's a great window to understand the people. And that's why we do the Back to Your Village food festival. Also, we always have a bigger agenda here at ChannelOne TV and City. We've been saying that people should eat Ghana, wear Ghana, dance Ghana, whatever it is. And the Back to Your Village Food Festival is a huge campaign, not just a festival, but a campaign for that. If people can understand that our food is rich, it's nutritious, it's not as difficult to get as we think. Because you have over 100 vendors come to the Back to Your Village Food Festival, and all of them are doing active business. What can we do in our culinary, space, our culinary economy, to upgrade what they are doing, so that these foods can even go to trade shows abroad, and bring us income through tourism. So food tourism, another aspect of cultural diplomacy. But then, if we are eating local, it means we're eating more of our ingredients that we are growing here. There's more of a demand for it, and then we may limit importation of food. which can do well for the economy, all other things being equal. So Back to Your Village Food Festival is very special. But it also plays on nostalgia. The food that you used to eat when your grandmother used to come, or when you go and visit your grandmother, and then you don't see it anymore because you don't know how to prepare it and you don't know where to find it. You find it there. From one of my favorites, Rerenkwan, you know, the muskmelon seed. That
so difficult to make.
But I know, you see, we were learning how to make these things or witnessing the preparation of these things in a time when our grandmothers, great grandmothers, if you were lucky to meet them, were still grinding on the grinding stone, or they used the Sangda Potoriwa and all that. But now you can blend it in a blender.
Go your way.
Yes. Toast it on fire, because you have to toast the melon seeds before you proceed to process them to make the soup. So it's just like having a palm nut soup in a can. It's actually much easier. And so when you go there, some of the vendors are also demonstrating, because they're making the food there live and colored, how the preparation is done. So you also begin to understand that this thing that I thought would take me 10 hours, it's not that bad. Some of the things, yes, the processes take time, because you're not going to, now I don't know how many of us soak our corn from scratch, now take it to the corn mill before we now bring it back to come and make our banku. I don't know how, you can buy the dough in the market. So there are also people who have taken up indigenously on a smaller scale the manufacturing process for some of the earlier stages of the more intricate foods. And then we have the products to produce the food. So that's what the festival is about. Now, it's not just a festival because of the food. There's dance, there's music, there are games, things which go with our food, because almost every Ghanaian food has a story around it. There's a certain kind of music. So if it's Sunday or Mutu, there's a certain kind of music you are listening to. You don't even realize it when you're eating the Mutu. I mentioned Pupui, for example, certain songs that come around Homowo time, and you hear these songs around Gan communities, different exchanges of pleasantries, and it goes with the food. So you experience a lot of these things there too, so that literally you are going back to your village, and through that you are also realizing that you can actually live as a Ghanaian even in urban spaces. You don't need to throw away your heritage in the name of progress and development. So the Back to Your Village Food Festival is on the 29th and 30th of March, end of March like it always is, 29th, 30th, 2 days at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, A.M.A. Forecourt in Accra, of course. And it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. I don't want people, nobody should come there at 7 p.m. People do it. Come at 7 p.m. when people are packing up and say, hey, no, that's not what it is. It's 10 to 6. 10 to 6. In fact, most of these foods, eating them beyond 6 p.m. is not necessarily a healthy thing to do, because many of them are very rich. Okay, and if you are a vendor and you want more information, there are two numbers you can reach out to. There's 0558 973 973, 0558 973 973, or 0205 973 973. 0205-973-973. Now we've broken the whole event up. So when you go to the festival and you see the setup. We have the northern village, the Akan village, and the southern village. So sort of zoning the country into three. So depending on what you have to offer as a vendor, figure out where your food may go, and you can give that information to the executives when you call the number. And then if you make local drinks, so Asana, Liha, Medan, that's all, they're all in the same family. If it's your palm wine, if it's Otinshinu or Shitoda, if it's Ahe, there's this fancy drink.
Otinshinu is the kinky.
Exactly, the water from the kinky.
I've heard it's a delicacy.
It is.
I've never tasted it.
And it's very good. It's as an anti-malarial, or if you're
ahead of the health
convalescing.
benefits as well.
Yes, because it has all the nutrients from the but the kinky is boiled for at least 4 to 4.5 hours. So by the time all of that juice soaks to the bottom, you can imagine the richness in there.
And they add a sweetener and they are good
Precisely. They're good to go. You know, so many different things. Whatever drinks you have, the Zomkom and all of them. Lamujin, whatever.
So you're still
Make your
open
call.
for indigenous vendors to jump on?
Yes, we are. We are.
Cool.
Not for too long though. You know, these slots fill up very quickly.
Yeah.
We are just hitting the end of February. So people feel like, oh, I have a whole month to go.
Yeah.
But you let us hit March.
Yeah, I know.
Which is next Saturday, just this coming Saturday.
If for nothing at all, the Heritage Caravan taught us not to.
Oh, yes.
To wait,
No,
you know.
no, you cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Sold out.
Except that you should have opened up a spot for people like myself to come in.
What does that mean?
I want to also demonstrate my cooking talent.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
word.
Okay, come on, what's cooking? We can do that.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
Oh my
think
word.
we are
Happy, you'll end up doing all the cooking. You'll end up doing all
Like
the
when I
cooking.
hosted with Marisanda,
He'll talk more than he
who
cooks.
only held a tomato the whole time.
Marisanda.
remember that episode.
Oh Lord. He held
remember
one
that
tomato the
episode.
whole time. His saving grace was that his wife joined him in
Yeah.
the kitchen. You know, God bless her.
Yeah.
And it made the best tour I'd eaten in a
Yeah,
long
but
time.
even Sky and Bernard, so wait, you know.
Oh, no. But
yeah.
Bernard can cook.
Yeah.
Bernard, I remember when I hosted him, so he did a cook-off with Sanda.
Yeah.
But then Bernard, I hosted him alone, and he made something that he called the phobia spicy chicken.
Yeah.
Because you know he's a phobia
Yeah, he's
fan.
a phobia
we can
fan.
all make our own. Our own.
The thing
Yeah.
was amazing.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Amazing stew, rice cooked to perfection. No, he proved himself.
Is
Charlie.
the
He
Madina
proved- no, he proved
is the
himself.
Madina
He
background?
Nice.
proved himself.
Yeah.
guys.
That's
So
nice.
if you are going to use Bernard as a benchmark, then you have a lot.
You have a lot to
Sanda
prove.
seems a more likely.
Except that, no, Sana is not even close, but it's fine. I'll prove myself. Yeah.
Abby, but how are we kick-starting our whole Heritage Month?
So we have a launch coming up this Friday,
Okay.
the 28th of February. We'll be live on TV from 10 a.m. to 12 noon during this launch. We're doing it here at ChannelOne TV in our Heritage Garden. So every Heritage Month, the ChannelOne Gardens transforms into the Heritage Gardens. So we're doing it at Heritage Gardens. It's strictly by invitation, but you can join us on TV. We'll stream as well. Essentially, what we do with the launch is we introduce our partners, because it does take a lot of people to pull off the things that we are doing. We have support from the Ghana Tourism Authority, for example, which is great. And by extension, more importantly, the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Arts. And our new minister, she is full of fire, and herself being inherently a creative,
Yeah.
you know, also a cultural person. I know she's going to bring a lot of drama, and she's very excited about this launch and will be here.
Amazing.
So we also have a lot of dignitaries coming through, members of the diplomatic corps. We've got creative and cultural players coming through, but the ChannelOne and City family will be there.
Oh, Charlie.
And we will be processing, repping each other's villages at the launch. You know, there's something that we do here. We don't say that, because you are Oheniba, then show up as Oheniba. We want to also learn about each other's cultures, because it's important for the coexistence and peace that we've experienced in Ghana. Right? So we use that microcosm here, and we dress up in each other's costumes. So each department has a region or an area, an ethnic group that we're repping, and you see us in all of our glory. So look out for everything that we have to offer. But we're launching our Heritage Month Friday, 28th February, 10 a.m. sharp. Catch it live right here on ChannelOne TV.
Happy, thank you so much. I have some quick messages before we go. This is a congratulations to Vanessa Abnaboa. She works at St. Gregory Hospital, Budumbrum. She gave birth and is naming her child today. Happy belated birthday, Sharon Aite Obu. Yesterday was your birthday. God richly bless you and grant you your heart's felt desire. This one is from our very own Bismarck Amuzu. But that's our show for you. It's been fun. I will see you when I see you, but Jude will see you next week. We love you.